Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of this Plotaholics Podcast. I'm Shane Wilson, and I'm joined, as always, by the Kevin Hart to my Jack Black, The Rock to my Jack Black.
Yeah, that works.
The Karen Gillan of my Jack Black. I'm definitely the Karen Gillan of this crew.
Yeah, I think you can pull off a belly shirt. You're a ginger.
Yeah.
So, belly shirt, ginger.
The Nick to my Jonas.
Hey, that
Brian
works
Tan.
too. Ew.
I was going to say the Jew to my Manji, but
yeah, that
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little problematic.
Remember that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they had the debate over whether you could say Jew or if you had to say Jewish person?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know what? Because Sharon and I are always like binge watching stuff.
Yeah.
And we finished binging Mike and Molly. So I was like, what about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? She just goes, no. Like she just like threw a monkey wrench in that. So
that shit's so funny, but it's not for everybody.
Right. So, but I did get her to agree to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, that's a good one. I need to go back to that.
Yeah, you do.
Because I dropped off somewhere in like I don't know, like in the second or third season. I need to go back and finish it.
I'll tell you what though, like that's a show that, at least from my opinion, has never really dropped off with quality. Like it felt different when I can't remember the actress's name, but the woman that played Gina left the show. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But it never like was without quality. Like it was still really.
I always liked Gina a lot, but she was not a main character in the same way that it's not like Steve Carell leaving The Office, right?
Correct. Right.
The equivalent of that would have been Andy Samberg.
Yeah, or even Andre Braugher, if Andre Braugher would have left.
Right.
That's the only way it'd have been different. They did really good in the seasons to try to sort of change things up a bit. Like, I can't wait. If you start rewatching it again, I can't wait for you to get to the season arc where Holt and Peralta have to go into witness protection.
I saw some of that one, but I don't think I finished it.
That is so funny. I love it.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
But
like what I remember of it was solid. No, I mean, I like that show. I love Andy Samberg.
Oh yeah,
that's been well documented. Is also always a win.
I'll tell you what, man. Everyone on that show, but especially Terry Crews. Like I'm watching the show now with different eyes because it's like, hey, Terry Crews can do pull-ups. I can do pull-ups.
Right?
Yay!
Like when are we? I know we've talked about this, but like when are we gonna get like a Predator remake with Terry Crews and The Rock and John Cena and those guys,
Oh my God. You want to talk about the ultimate Predator versus the ultimate prey? That would be it. If like it was a team of The Rock, Terry Crews, John Cena, Dave Bautista, Michael Jai White, and Keanu Reeves.
Right.
And the team is being led by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's all of them against a Predator.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Also, let's just take 4 of those guys and make them Ninja Turtles with just like green body paint. And then let's just let Keanu Reeves be Master Splinter with just like a little rubber mouse nose.
I would be there for that.
Yeah.
You mean like those old Chuck E. Cheese mouse noses?
Yeah, like and you can still see the string around his head and everything. Like,
yeah, we're not going to remove that in post, Keanu.
that would be very funny.
I would be all about it. You could just, like Terry Crews could be
the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie budget was announced today, and they're making it for $73.
And like John Cena, Dave Bautista, Terry Crews, and The Rock are just wearing like black like Speedo pants, like Speedo shorts, and they're all painted green.
Either that, or they're wearing like head to toe green like sweatsuits that they've spray painted yellow circles on the chest of them,
and darker green on the back, and wearing backpacks.
Exactly, they're just wearing backpacks.
Oh, that would be so great.
Oh, that would be. But then everybody in the movie treated them as though they were really turtles. That's so funny.
Like, if you got, like, The Rock to play... And the thing is, they're reenacting the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. So, instead of, like, dropping a head in a shell, he just, like, ducks down really, really low. And then stands up and just hits with the elbow and goes...
No, he holds up his backpack.
Yeah, there you go. It's just like, whoo!
Right.
And that just hits him with a people's elbow.
That would be so funny, man. Like, let's see, what else could we like throw in there? I mean, now we've got to do like
Jackson is the Shredder. No, either Samuel Jackson or better yet, no, we get Jackie Chan. No, because it's got to be.
Give me Keegan Michael Key
as the Shredder.
As the Shredder. Like, why not?
Sure. Or
maybe like hold on, maybe let's get
actor. We need a Japanese actor.
Oh, you want a Japanese actor? Okay.
Yeah. Actor or actress, because, we can gender bend.
Oh, we could get, like, bilingual.
Oh, there you go. Is she Chinese? Is she Chinese or Japanese?
I'm not 100% sure.
Just get
bilingual. And that is my own oversight.
But you know what? Bilingual, period, is always a victory. So.
She is a win. Ever since Samurai Cop 2, Lost in New York. I've been a big fan.
Oh man, we got to get like, who's the guy? Daniel Day Kim to play Tatsu.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see him because he was Johnny Gat in Saints Row, so he could be like a more attitudinal Tatsu.
Yeah,
and like,
but then like, I mean, we do all of that just to get to make the remake of Secret of the Ooze.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Starring all the same people in all the same costumes, like no upgrades, right?
No, not
but
at all.
Now you also have to do those other two weird, like super ooze creatures.
Oh, Toka and Razar, yeah.
Yeah.
So then you get Yao Ming and Adam Sandler. To play
I was
Toka
just gonna
let it.
I was just gonna get. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. I was gonna get like Rebel Wilson and Amy Schumer.
Okay.
And so then I was going to just put them also just in sweatsuits with just like a little rubber thing on their nose. And then like on their backpack, we just put like, we stick pencils out of them.
Yeah. Well, only out of the one, because one's a snapping turtle. So
that's right. The other one is the snapping turtle.
And then whenever they turn them back into like baby animals, it's just like some random little kids from like a day school.
Yes.
Yes. Like just some random little kids are like, I love my mommy.
Yep. And then we, instead of Vanilla Ice, we film the whole final fight scene in slow motion, and we have John Legend do Go Ninja Go as a ballad on piano.
Oh, that's nice. I was gonna say if you wanted to stick with the '90s Vanilla Ice, then you get Andy Samberg
as Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
But
his name isn't Vanilla Ice. It's like Haagen-Dazs Gold or something.
Yeah, did you ever see his what did they call him? It was a bit he did on SNL where he was like a rapper, and it wasn't the Lonely Island stuff, but like so there was an episode, I think it was like Ludacris was like coming in. He was like, "Oh, who y'all got for me today?" And Keenan plays the producer. And he's like, we got somebody for. Oh, Jason Sudeikis is the guy. He's like the hype guy. He's like, "Yo, man, we've got this guy for you. He's so good." His name is like the Iceman or something, right? And so like then they throw it to Andy Samberg and he goes, "Yeah, where my beat at?" Right? But then like when it starts, he goes, rappers, we're going down to the club. We're watching the honeys get naked and we're throwing up our guns.
That's it. Movie's over. Movie's over.
It was so funny, dude.
That's the movie, and that's the film. But somewhere we have to throw in Corey Feldman. Like maybe have Corey Feldman do the musical
plays
number.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, let him do the musical number, and it's just like all the musical numbers that he's done from like Good Morning America, and just like
do we get like a
Vanilla Ice?
No, I mean we could do that. Do we maybe get MC Hammer to come in?
Oh,
and we let him play a fictional rapper called Chocolate Water.
Water. Oh, hold on. I think I found it. This is the hold on. I'm going to show you this right here. This is the Corey Feldman. This is the version of Corey Feldman that we need to have. Hold on.
Maybe Corey Feldman should play Shredder. Oh God, no! Yeah, this
is the Corey Feldman that we need.
Maybe he should play Master Splinter.
Yeah, there you go. And instead of teaching him how to fight, this is what he's teaching them to do.
They're just like Master Splinter. What even is that?
I don't like. He looks like a Jedi going to the dark side. Whoa! I don't. Now this is the Ninja Turtles movie. Like this is just the random music break that we get. Wow, Shane's head is hurting.
It's just like this hurts me every time I watch it.
Oh man!
And what's really cool about that, Brian, is that we will not get a copyright strike because that is unintelligible music. Like even the YouTube algorithm is like, fuck if I know. Like I don't know what the fuck that is.
YouTube's like, you know what? I don't know.
Y'all wanted to play that? We'll let you have this one for free.
You know what? This is yours, y'all.
Corey Feldman is going to be in our DMs later, paying us $5 for playing that.
Oh man.
Anyway, this week,
much love to Corey Feldman. Much love, but
this week we watched the. It's not a sequel. It's not a. Well, it is kind of a sequel. It is actually a sequel.
Yeah, it's a pseudo sequel.
Which is, I feel like, the way to do things.
Yeah, this is what isn't this what they refer to? This is before they came up with the term legacy sequel, isn't it?
Maybe it was like a soft reboot does not ignore the original source material, right? But it is like updating things and all of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and I think people are okay with this because, and this is we've talked about this. It doesn't ignore the original source material.
Right.
We talked about this especially when we were doing the Ghostbusters, the 2016 one.
Yeah.
How that movie itself is not actually that bad.
It's not really terrible. It's just the fact that they ignore completely.
They pretend that they were the first Ghostbusters, and that's where I think everybody got butthurt.
Yeah, that's what upset me. Now, granted, a lot of the He-Man woman haters got into this whole, you can't have girl Ghostbusters. Meanwhile, Janine was Ghostbusting like hell in the cartoon, so I don't know what the hell they think they're talking about. But yeah, it's the fact that they completely ignored the source material is what made me have a bit of an issue with it. Because I enjoyed the movie. I think it's kind of funny. And Chris Hemsworth is really hilarious, especially where he's wearing glasses with no lenses.
Yeah. I think that he was... Honestly, that movie is very funny to me.
It is funny.
If you can kind of ignore, like, if you can pretend like it's a new thing and not get bogged down in the Ghostbusters of it all, like, it's fine.
Right. But here in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, our advertised content, really succeeds where that Ghostbusters failed. And it doesn't hurt to have Karen Gillan and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jack Black, who he's the reason why we're doing this film, part of our Jack Black-tember block, and
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, yeah. Why did I forget? Because Kevin Hart is smaller than everyone, so that's why I forgot him.
And these four folks are
He's
so
not
good
tall
in
enough
this.
to ride the ride of my memory. He's not tall enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is really well cast.
I agree. Because
Hit us with that synopsis real quick.
Yeah, sure. So in this film, a group of basically this film, folks,
it's the Breakfast Club.
It's Breakfast Club 2.0.
Yeah.
And after all four of these students end up in detention in very, very hilarious ways that count with their tropes, they are tricked into playing an upgraded Jumanji game and are sucked into this world as these super avatars. And they find out that this game, like falling into Elm Street, has very, very real world consequences.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Yeah, so we should give our flowers to the original probably a little bit.
I agree. Now here's the thing. So when I lived in New Hampshire, right?
Mm-hmm.
I lived right smack dab near the town that the original Jumanji was filmed in Keene, New Hampshire.
I love your use of the phrase "right smack dab in the," because usually that means middle of is next, but you're like near. You're like, I live right smack dab in the middle of a town 50 miles from there.
Well, it was more like 25, but I actually worked like right near the town line.
Yeah.
Of there. And actually they still got stuff up that glamour, that says,
sure.
As seen in Jumanji.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, most kids are like, what the hell is a Jumanji? Until this movie came out.
Yeah, right.
But so I lived, where they filmed a lot of the stuff. I've been near the houses, not in the houses, because people that look like me aren't allowed to be in those people's houses.
In those houses, right.
Yeah. But I've been there, I've seen it, and the original Jumanji was starred Robin Williams and not Helen Hunt. Who's the one that looks like Helen Hunt, but she's older than Helen Hunt?
I don't know.
You know who I mean. The blonde lady. She played...
the blonde in Jumanji.
Yeah, the blonde woman in Jumanji that's like going crazy because of Jumanji. Either way, so basically, for those that don't know, Bonnie Hunt is her name. So I wasn't off. I was just half a name wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I said Helen Hunt instead of Bonnie Hunt. So basically, the original Jumanji saw Robin Williams' character sucked into the game, Jumanji, and he didn't come back for like ever. Like it took like 20 years for him to come back, and meanwhile, the game starts to take over the real world until, the kids stop it, complete the game, and then in the original film, you see the game get lost on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, here in Welcome to the Jungle, it picks up a few years later where they find the game on the beach, and this kid's dad finds it and says, "Hey, son, look what I found." And of course, he's like, board games. Who plays board games anymore? And somehow this sentient Parker Brothers game decides to become a PlayStation / Sega Genesis type of thing.
Well,
because the
shouldn't
kid is playing PlayStation.
We should discuss the magic, because it's clear that it's just like mimicking what it's not a Parker Brothers thing.
No.
Like it's mimicking.
Right.
It's temptation, right?
Right. It's mimicking what's going to tempt the kid.
Right.
And of course, the kid isn't into
It's that whole
games.
Like you'll see what you want to see sort of thing.
Right. Correct. So, I guess for now, if it was going to get Shane Wilson, it would become a glass of bourbon.
Yes. For sure. And then I would be hammered and playing Jumanji, and I would just have the time of my life. The last time of my life.
No, I think you'd make it
unless you think so?
Well, unless cake or alcohol was one of your weaknesses.
Now,
here's what I want to know. Cake, so I guess the character just has a gluten allergy, but it makes him explode.
Yeah.
That was the sorry. So this kid starts to play the Jumanji game after it becomes a video game, and he disappears.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jumanji.
Are
we to believe?
Not Gentmanji.
Right. So is all of this just a game, or are we to believe that Jumanji it really is a world, like an alternative world that exists on some other plane, and these kids are like sent there to save it, or is it just a game?
I think that the game just wants to be played. So it comes up with these scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think that Jumanji was ever in any danger because this game has showed how powerful it is.
Right.
I think that it just wanted to be played.
Yeah.
So I don't believe, and all these characters are just NPCs anyway. So
Right.
it was never in any real danger. It's just that it puts itself in the situation that it's in danger as a scenario for the game.
Yeah, because I mean, it seems sentient because it keeps rewriting itself.
Right. It recreates
Is
itself. It rebrands
this
itself like
witchcraft?
Madonna. It rebrands itself like Madonna.
Is this
Is it
witchcraft?
witchcraft? Yes. Yes, it is. Which is why I will never have it, or like I own not one Jumanji movie. I only rent them. And it nor a Ouija board will ever be in a domicile that I call home.
Yeah.
And if so, I will burn it to the ground.
This is really an interesting point of contention here. Like, because I am actually curious about what oh, did you ever watch Zathura?
What was that?
Apparently, Zathura is a 2005 American science fiction adventure film directed by your boy, Jon Favreau.
All right,
It is
Fav.
an adaptation of the 2002 children's book Zathura, author of the 1981 book Jumanji. It is a standalone spinoff of the 95 film Jumanji and the second installment, technically, of the Jumanji franchise.
Huh. So the spin-offs, so we have Jumanji, Xanadu.
So Zathura, which I assume is another game based in space.
Huh.
Yeah. So the story is about two squabbling brothers, Danny and Walter Budwing, who find a mysterious board game in the basement which transports their house into outer space.
Nice. Now I want to go there and become a Jedi.
That sounds dope. Jon Favreau directed. It stars Josh Hutcherson, Jonah Bobo, Dax Shepard, Kristen Stewart, and Tim Robbins.
I thought you were about to say Dak Prescott. I was about to say, oh my God, is he going to get injured in that too?
Yeah, for sure.
Fab Five Favreau. All right. All right. So hold on.
So there you have it.
All right. So it's called Zathura. Okay. All right. So.
Oh my God.
All right. Okay. This looks like, and this came out before. So this is before Kristen Stewart became Bella.
Yeah, she would have been a kid probably, right? Or like at least pretty young.
All right. So basically, this Zathariah is basically Jumanji in space, but it has different.
Right.
So what
Which is cool.
So what if all these games are just like siblings and it's all the exact same thing but different scenarios? So you have Zakalaka,
Yeah, like
Jumanji.
You have like Ocean Jumanji.
Yeah, Osagi.
Yeah.
Desert Jumanji, Indiana Manji.
Indiana Manji. Like but this is what's cool, right? So like Zathura, as I'm sure Jumanji did as well. So it's originally a book, right? Then someone makes a movie based on the book, and the book is based on a fictional game, right?
Right.
And so then after the movie comes out, then an actual board game is released that is based on the fictional board game that is depicted in the book that is based on a fictional board game. And then there's also another video game that comes out that is based on the fictional board game that is based on the fictional film that features a fictional board game.
And my eyes are now crossed.
Like it's
Holy
like
crap. This is so much information.
Do you remember this is such a weird episode.
Yeah, I cannot fix my eyes. Like they're stuck like this. Jumanji. There we go.
There's a TV show, and I think it was on NBC or something a few years ago. It was called The Bible. And it was a dramatization of the Gospels, basically. And so everybody was like hyped. Well, not everybody, but a lot of
doesn't make me excited, but
a lot of very white Christian people were super pumped on this super white Jesus that was on like primetime TV. And so it did really well. And so then they released a book, right, called The Bible. And the subtitle was based on the television show The Bible, which was, again, based on the Bible. Like, it's a snake eating its own tail. Like everybody's like, I can't wait to go read the novelization of this Jesus show I've been watching. Like, bitch, like you have it already.
Yeah, it is in every hotel that you go to.
It's called The Bible, bro. Like it's already there.
You know what? I see, here's the funny thing. The more and more I've been thinking of religion, I'm probably going to alienate some people. the more and more I think about it, is the Bible really truth, or is it just one dude writing a diary that folks were just taking super seriously?
I mean, it's a whole bunch of dudes writing a diary.
Yeah. And it's just like, don't you guys have anything else better to do? No?
Like, can't you just like maybe be nice to each other without someone that lived 2,000 years ago telling you to?
I don't need Sky Daddy to tell me to not treat people like crap. Okay? No. Or I would rather say Sky Mom. But
Sky Daddy's BFF, Paul or whatever.
Right. Like, well, here's the thing. I think that it definitely would be Sky Daddy, because I don't think a mother would like let their kid run as completely unchecked as humanity has been.
Yeah.
You know, this is definitely like, I love watching those videos of like dads watching their kids, and it's just like the dad like doing the bare minimum so they can do what they want to do, like duct taping the kid to their chest so they can play video games or.
I mean, the way things have been going, it feels a lot like God went out for a pack of cigarettes like 50 years ago and just
never came back. Yeah. We are Nelson Muntz.
Yeah, he has like a whole ass other like family.
Other reality.
He's like, right, yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm giving up on this one.
It's like, oh wow, and that was almost a plot for Supernatural season 15.
Right.
But so all right, so the whole thing. So basically, with Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, we meet Spencer, who, of all the video games he could be playing, he's playing Street Fighter number 85 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And big football player dude is like, yo, man, you got to do my homework for me because I'm Black Biff Tannen.
Anthony Fridge Johnson.
Yeah, but when the kid calls him refrigerator, he gets all pissed off at him.
Right.
Because it's fridge, not refrigerator. I'm only refrigerator to my mom. And then you got the one girl, Bethany. I hate that name. You have this girl, Bethany, who is like the stereotypical Instagram girl that like has to plan her candid shots. And then you got Martha, who doesn't really want to be bothered with school, with like gym class and stuff. And she insults Frau the Russian dodgeball player whose name I can't say, but she's the captain of her power plant's dodgeball team, and is like the most dangerous woman in the world with a dodgeball. Basically, right. after Globo Gym lost the finals to Average Joe, she became a gym teacher.
Yeah,
and so refrigerator Horowitz and Spencer Jackson get caught for cheating. And then Bethany decides it's more important to talk on her phone than take a quiz or let other people take their quiz. So Kevin Holt, Captain Holt's husband, is also the principal of the school. And basically is making them de-staple an entire assload. Like, who keeps that many damn magazines in a school? That is a fire hazard, bro.
Yeah, probably just all left over from all the magazine drives that they had to do. You remember having to do that? You had to sell magazine subscriptions for fundraisers?
I remember that.
What a racket.
Well, I remember one time I did, I sold for a fundraiser, like, cassette tapes, and I didn't have the money to buy the cassette tapes, so some lady from my mom's job ordered cassette tapes that I wanted, so I kept them.
Nice.
And just like, and then I dubbed them, and then gave them back. But so they had to de-staple them. They find the Jumanji game because the kid from the very beginning got trapped, and I guess the dad went crazy.
Yeah.
So the kids just decide they're going to play the game. One of the players, one of the avatars is locked. So Fridge picks a guy who he thinks is named Moose. Spencer picks Dr. Bravestone, and then, so everyone, Bethany picks this character Shelly, and Martha picks some other character. And they go into the game.
Martha
Ruby
Roundhouse.
Ruby Roundhouse, there you go.
The martial arts expert.
Yeah, who is the master of dance fighting and leads men to their deaths.
Right.
Spencer picks Dr. Xander Smolder Bravestone.
the smolder thing is so funny.
It is really hilarious. Like I love this is Jack Black at his best. Like number one, this movie really picks up when the kids are off screen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like because
I mean, they're fine, but obviously, like you've got these four
Hereditary gets on my nerves. Like I hate seeing him on screen. He gets on my nerves so much.
Yeah.
I am so happy when he is off screen because he just literally makes my head hurt.
Well, and these four leads are so charismatic and they're so good together.
Yes. Like I did not know until I saw this movie that I wanted to see The Rock and Jack Black share a screen together.
Right.
I did not know this.
Now, Kevin Hart and The Rock makes sense.
Yes. But then you got Karen Gillan.
And who's fantastic. We love her here.
You can put her in like even that crappy movie that we did earlier this year.
Yes.
She was the only good part of that movie.
Yeah.
Like she was literally the only good part. And I don't know why, but even the scene
where
even the scene where she's like masturbating it's not even sexy. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but also she is hot.
And yeah,
I mean, in this movie, come on now.
She's definitely a forest fire.
Yeah.
Like she would definitely destroy the T-1000. No joke. But so they come on screen and Spencer realizes that he has like 85-inch biceps and looks like a sexy Samoan, half black guy. The fridge discovers that he's Kevin Hart, which would depress anyone. Because I'm sorry, how do you go from 6'4" to 5 foot even? Like you can't even ride on all the rides at the theme park. Like you might as well just not even go to Disneyland at this point.
Yeah.
And then the girl Bethany wakes up and realizes that she is a curvy expert, just not as curvy that she thought she was going to be. And she's become Jack. And I love those scenes where it's like, hey guys, can you help me? I've never had a penis before.
Right.
So
yeah, no, that was a really cool, funny choice to make her like to let Jack Black pretend that a girl was controlling him. That was very funny.
That was so like, and it was like, so now what? Now you just pull it out and you take aim and fire. You're like, what is with you and aiming? What happened to you? So, and that was probably my favorite part though, was every scene that like every time each time that Jack Black is involved in something, it's always so hilarious. And while The Rock has his physicality, Jack Black's own physicality and comedic timing are just like the perfect complement.
Yeah.
Like even with Jack Black trying to teach Karen Gillan how to be sexy and flirtatious, it's absolutely hilarious.
That is, that section, that is like one of my favorite parts of this movie, because of like, they could have, so obviously we talked about how it's like the Breakfast Club.
Yes.
And how these kids end up getting closer throughout the course of the film. But it was also really smart of them to get 4 adult leads to play the avatars and have them also be so completely different from each other.
Right.
And the choice to have Jack Black play the hot chick. And so like in character, like as their avatars, it's like trying to teach the actual hot chick how to be hot.
Right.
It's so funny.
It really is. And I'm sorry, but Rob Schneider, that's how you play a hot chick.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry. Like Jack Black he is definitely like, I don't even want to say he's the best part of this movie because it really takes away from all the good in this movie.
It's the ensemble. Like the ensemble is solid. And also like, listen, you can't have a Jumanji film without like the wild like shit, like the wild nature shit that happens.
Right. Like
and this movie does a great job with that stuff too.
And I love the story behind it where Bobby Cannavale's character Van Pelt like steals the Jumanji jewel and is corrupted by its power.
Uh-huh.
And how they have to stop. Like that is so cool. Like I really like that. Like this really feels like you're playing a video game.
A video game. I was about to say, yeah, the way that they reimagined this as like moved it away from a board game and moved it toward a video game, like with levels and a boss and an attack, like a fetch quest and all of this stuff. Like they definitely do. It does feel like a video game. And I love like whenever they're like first showing up and like they get the exposition like from the guy,
from Nigel. Yeah,
right. That's so good.
that is really awesome. Like, and Nigel is so fun, man. Race Darby, like, I seriously want him to like just he could narrate a C. Jane run book, and I would buy it off of Audible just to hear his voice. Like, hello, Dr. Bravestone. Thank you for reading my letter and coming to Jumanji. I'm like, that is so great.
That's exact. And like, just, you know, every video game has that like tutorial level where they're just like giving you the backstory.
Yeah.
And using him as that was very,
brilliant.
very good.
Very brilliant.
And also to have like, I loved like the use of Nick Jonas as like Alex from, you know, earlier in the film, like as his avatar.
Yeah.
And then also to use like to even have like Colin Hanks
as him, because, and you know what, and I could actually see Colin Hanks being an older version of Nick Jonas. Like, I can see it. And I'm sorry, man, does Colin Hanks not just embody everything great about his father? Like,
more so than Chet.
Chet.
Yes, more so than Chet for sure.
Yeah. Oh Lord have mercy.
They could have spread that out a little bit more evenly, I think.
Yeah, like it's like 98-2. Like people only hang out with Chet because his last name is Hanks, and they're trying to find a likability quality that's not there.
Honestly, you just get the sense that like Chet was supposed to be like a pullout, but like maybe Tom had a little too much to drink that night and just forgot or something, you know?
Yeah, that's how, or better yet, what if Chet and Colin are the modern day version of twins? So all the good and pure went into Colin.
Right.
All the crap went into what Chet sees in the mirror every morning.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't done twins yet.
That is fair.
But either
also,
way,
why we keep talking about The Rock and Kevin Hart, even though this is a Jack Black thing.
Yeah,
but like,
I feel
why have
bad.
those two not done My Giant?
Oh my God, that would be so great. Kevin Hart gets this giant The Rock to like, and Kevin Hart's a professional wrestling manager. It could almost be like a remake of My Giant meets Body Slam.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart's like a professional wrestling manager, and to get back on top, he needs to get the next big thing, and it just turns out to be The Rock. But you de-age him, and then there you go. Or you get the guy that plays the grown-up young Rock, and just put like a de-aged The Rock face on his body. And there you go, right there.
Yeah, right there. Also, let's get John Cena to do a No Holds Barred remake.
You know what? It would probably be way better than
it would be way better.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure John Cena would not like go Dookie. Dookie.
I still can't believe I watched that.
Yep, I owed you that one. Well, hey, you made me watch Neil Breen. So
no, I know. I deserved it.
So basically, the whole point of this is they have to find a way to catch Van Pelt. They have to find the jaguar because Nigel stole the jewel from Van Pelt. So they have to take the jewel, put it back into the jaguar's eye socket, and then say Jumanji to stop, because otherwise Van Pelt's curse is going to sweep through the land.
Yes, because he has found it has corrupted him, and he has now gained control over the wildlife.
Right, and he's like spitting freaking scorpions at people.
Right,
like homeboy is just like he's come a long way from being a co-parent to Scott Lang's daughter.
That's true.
He's come a long way, man. But Bob, dude, I got to give Bobby Cannavale a lot of props in this. He's such a great villain.
He is. He's very good.
And everything that he's in is like it's just so good, except for The Irishman.
Yeah, you did not like that.
I hate The Irishman. Like, it is the worst movie ever. Like, well, not the worst movie ever, but
we've talked about two already here today that are worse, probably.
Yeah, but like I truly feel like that if we were still doing the original Plotaholics premise of just doing only shitty movies, then The Irishman would definitely be there. Like The Irishman is I truly believe that The Irishman is Martin Scorsese's Troll 2.
Solid.
Shout out to our very, very, very first episode.
That's right.
So the bottom line is they go through all this stuff. I really love how they have the 3 lives, which is like a tattoo on their arm.
That's a very cool feature.
That was very, very fun. And every time they die, and they die in some of the most gruesome ways possible.
For sure they did, especially early on, like when they were still like figuring it out, you know?
She gets eaten by a freaking hippo.
Yeah, dude.
Like, my God.
Like, yeah, I appreciated that the movie like front loaded it with that stuff. Is like, yo, Jumanji not fucking around.
Right, Jumanji, yeah, because they didn't really do a lot of that in the original. In this one, it's like, nah, we're not pulling any punches. You're getting eaten by a hippo. Bam, first thing.
I mean, that is a video game, though. You know what I mean? Like
it really is. Like the game is going to let you know when something serious is about to happen.
For sure. And so all of that stuff, I love like them trying to figure out their bodies. Like this is very meta, I think, like whenever they're first getting acquainted with their like new bodies.
Yep. And freaking Spencer's like,
right.
Whoa.
And like as the audience, we're like, oh haha, it's so funny because The Rock, of course he has big biceps, but like imagine being that kid and like getting into that body.
Oh my God. That's like if Kevin Hart woke up tomorrow and was The Rock.
Right. Yeah.
Now I want to see Kevin Hart and The Rock in a Freaky Friday remake.
That would be very funny.
I would love that. And The Rock has to do like the high-pitched Kevin Hart voice.
Yeah. That would be very funny.
But yeah, then of course, we had, and this is the one thing about the movie that kind of got on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
It did play a little bit on the stereotype. Oh, the first thing I did was make sure that, my junk was the same and pleased to say that it is. And it's like,
right.
Okay, we got to have that in the movie.
Right.
All right, let's get it out the way now. Let's go. But and then, of course, Kevin Hart shoves The Rock off a cliff and kills him because So let's talk about their strengths and their weaknesses.
Right.
Because that was kind of funny. Another very, very video game-esque, touch your pectoral muscle, which technically would be like the select button on a controller. And it shows you what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Right.
Spencer gets the character that has 0 weaknesses ever. Like, he's just perfect in every way. And intense smoldering.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, are you really doing that as natural? I think it's just natural.
It's like his avatar, the character that he plays is very confident.
Right. And he's nowhere
and
near
he
confident.
Is not right. Yeah. So
he didn't even want to leave Jumanji.
Right.
If you were in The Rock's body, would you want to leave?
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of pressure. And that's also a lot of upkeep.
Yeah, because you got to work out like 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that. Or really the desire to do that. That's the biggest thing.
I mean, it must be nice to have a lifestyle that like literally all you do is work out. And then you go film movies for like a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
And then you work out again. Like that's literally all my dude does is just like work. Like I see, let me look this up. How many hours a day does The Rock work out? Works out 6 days a week for about 3 to 4 hours. So that's 24 hours in a week. This guy's exercising.
Who wants to do that?
I mean, I love to work out. I really do. I love working out. But 3 to 4 hours well, technically I did a demonstration 3 hours.
Well,
yesterday.
I guess what we should acknowledge here is that it is literally his job to look like that.
That's true. So, I mean,
like if I didn't have to do anything else for 8 hours a day, then I could find 3 or 4 hours to work out.
Yeah. But yeah, his whole job is to look good and make movies.
Yeah. You have, Anthony Johnson, this is the football player who had been very good friends, right?
With Spencer. They were best friends as kids.
But they've grown apart now because he's a popular football player and Spencer's like the nerdy, unconfident, like nerd, right?
He is probably one of the most unlikable people in this movie.
Yeah.
He is such a selfish jerk.
Yeah.
Like, I do not like him, and I seriously just want his face to fall off.
Yeah, that's pretty typical behavior for a high school kid that gets like really popular, though.
Him and the Bethany characters both. They are very, very self-absorbed. And then you've got Martha and Spencer, who are very, very socially awkward. Hi, Miss Odette. Very, very socially awkward, but decent enough people. It's just that, but it's like the Martha character is very, very judgmental against anyone that like does anything that she deems is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like she hates fun because she wants to go to Princeton. And all Spencer wants to do is play video games.
Yeah. I appreciated that our lead ended up with the girl that it made sense for him to end up with.
Yeah, it's not like him and Bethany are going to get together. And I like the fact that Fridge and Bethany didn't get together. Like they didn't need to.
I also like that Spencer wasn't into Bethany, right? Like
right.
That would not have made. He can probably think she's hot, like we all did, but like not we all thought Bethany was hot, but we all thought that the girl that was like her in high school, we all thought she was hot.
Yeah.
But that was never the girl that most of us were gonna like be into, really. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just like,
and so it felt like he was batting in his league, I guess. That's probably shitty to say, but like he understood like this was a girl that he was interested in, right? Like they had similar goals, they had similar, like all of that.
They were, it wasn't even so much batting out of his league. He wasn't going to go outside of what he appreciated.
Right. And what
else.
Bethany has physically is just not really what he's interested in.
Right. And
like he's interested in the substance and all of that. And I also like,
and it's not even to say that Bethany doesn't have substance.
Right.
It's just that it's a different type of substance than what he's into.
For sure. And I would also say that, like we mentioned Breakfast Club at the top. Mm-hmm. This film does not commit the great sin of the Breakfast Club in that it drastically changes one of its characters to make them more mainstream. Right. All of these characters simply grow. Like they become better versions of themselves. They do not try to change who they are.
Right. And that's the one thing. And I think that's what makes cinema of today in a lot of ways better than cinema of 30, 40 years ago. Because cinema of 30, 40 years ago really did teach the lesson of you have to change to become
like you
more
need
mainstream.
To adhere to the mainstream.
Yeah. And it didn't allow for individuality. Where now it's like, it's okay to
well, at least not John Hughes movies.
Right. No, especially not John Hughes movies. Hell, they normalize date rape and other kinds of foolishness.
Yeah, those movies are so problematic.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of them are.
Even Breakfast Club, which is kind of the least problematic of some of his movies of the time, is still
that's just because it was all located in one room for the most part. Like he didn't have an opportunity to be problematic.
Well, except for the
end,
sexual assault.
There's that, and the making the most interesting character in the movie, making her adhere to the mainstream.
Right, exactly. And the principal just going way overboard with being an asshole. So, yeah, this is, I think that, now, granted, the one thing, now, let's talk a little bit about what this movie does wrong for a second. I feel like this movie was a little too long.
Yeah.
It could have been about maybe 15 minutes shorter. But I appreciate the nod to Robin Williams. I think it was very, very important.
Yep.
Because, this was like only 2 years after Robin Williams died.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really great that they paid that homage to him.
I will say this. Mm-hmm. There are very few movies that need to be 2 hours long.
Very few.
And especially comedies.
Right. We've talked about that multiple times. Yeah. Comedy movies can get away with being the shortest.
Right. This movie, film. An hour 45 is probably about the sweet spot for it because there's a lot that happens. Like this is more than just like a comedy. This is like a sci-fi comedy
action
sort of
comedy.
thing.
Sci-fi
it's like Free Guy needed to be a little longer because it has to do some world building.
Right. Where this film, we already know what Jumanji is because of the first movie. We know. Yeah.
But it does have to establish it for a new audience too.
Correct. You're right about that. But I think that an hour 45 minutes probably would have been better. I think one of the only things that they did wrong, they did it on purpose to point fun at, like the Ruby Roundhouse character. This is not practical. Why am I wearing a leather halter top?
Absolutely, yeah.
What does this have to do with the jungle?
If they hadn't addressed it, it would have been problematic. But the fact that they did felt like a jab at Jurassic World.
Right.
but that had come out just a little before this, and everybody was taking it to task for having Bryce Dallas Howard like running around in high heels the whole time they're running from dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's like if this was real life, she'd have taken them bad boys off and just run barefoot until she
For
could
sure.
find some boot.
A long time ago, she would have taken them off.
Right. But I mean, but you even started to see as early as 1990 some of those tropes start to get put to bed. Case in point, if you look at the Night of the Living Dead remake, the character Barbara, who in the original 1968 movie is catatonic most of the movie, and she plays that damsel in distress. But in the 1990 remake, she finds a pair of camo pants and boots, shit-kicking boots, and turns into a badass.
I think that horror has gotten it right for longer than any other genre has.
I agree. I absolutely agree. But
because there's nothing glamorous about horror, right? I mean, like you've got your scream queens, but they all end up covered in blood and everything.
Right.
Action movies still like to sexualize their heroines, you know?
Right. And it's really frustrating because I think that once you reach a certain age, you're like, wow, like no woman that's a fighter would ever dress like that.
Yeah.
Like, unless, I mean, and even if you are worried more about mobility, you're not dressing sexy.
Right.
Like, at all. Like, as much as I hate to give the Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movies any credit, the character Alice dressed very practical for her plight.
Yeah.
And what she was going through. So I'm glad that they addressed that with the Ruby Roundhouse character. And you even see her for a portion of the movie. She's wearing an overcoat because she doesn't like the way she's exposed. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. But really, the only thing about this movie that I find is really problematic is the length, the characters,
the runtime, and like a couple, like you mentioned, a couple of the little jokes we could cut.
Yeah, we could cut the all black men have a big penis joke. We can easily cut that.
And there are probably enough of those like figuring out our bodies moments to cut enough of those to get us down by 10 minutes.
I agree. The Jack Black stuff in this though, like Jack Black, even when this film starts to lag a little, Jack Black does a great job with his comedic timing.
Well, that's because him and Kevin Hart are the two traditional comedians.
Yeah, they're the comic relief characters.
Yeah, and like Gillan is a funny actress, but like she's not a comedian in the same way that those two are.
Correct. But she really shows how good of an actress she is, because you figure a lot of us, like the first time I found out who she was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And I even mentioned it to Sharon. I said, it's still weird to me that this is Nebula. Because she doesn't
That's weird to me too.
She doesn't look like herself, even if you eliminate the heavy makeup.
Yeah.
Because there's like, you can look at Dave Bautista as Drax,
sure.
and he's still Dave Bautista. Karen Gillan is not Karen Gillan when she's Nebula. Yeah. She doesn't sound like herself. She doesn't look like herself. Nothing. So the acting chops in this is really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, what else is there? Because it's really hard in a lot of ways to talk about this movie because it's very straightforward. There is no
four people running from animals and other shit.
Yeah, running from animals and people with guns and motorcycles.
And it's cool. Like it's a good time.
Right.
It was made on this is a weird window, $90 to $150 million budget, and it made almost $1 billion, $962.5 million at the box office. So no wonder it got a sequel, which was also pretty fun.
I haven't watched it.
It's pretty fun.
I mean, I do want to see it because we got Danny DeVito and why did I almost say Danny Murtaugh? Danny Glover. I do want to watch it. Well, you want to know what? Obviously, the Welcome to the Jungle is only streaming for free on Stars. So I used a free 1 week subscription to Stars. And then as soon as it was over, it's like, get rid of this because I'm not getting charged.
For sure.
So, but,
it was also, let's see, 76% on the tomato meter, 87% audience score.
And that sounds about pretty fair. This isn't a movie that's going to be for everybody.
Right.
But if you like The Rock, if you like Kevin Hart, and you like Jack Black, then this is the movie for you. And the only reason why I leave Karen Gillan out of it is because, yeah, she's a main character, but she's not really. She's not center stagey like the other two, and I think that that's pretty good character work because her character, the person that she's portraying, isn't a center stage type person.
Right.
So I think, because The Rock, when you look at Dwayne Johnson, he has to take center stage just from his look, his gravitas. He takes center stage, and then Kevin Hart's comedy and Jack Black's comedy is what puts them at center stage.
Yeah.
So, and once again, it shows how good these adult actors are. The Avatar characters, actors are at, for lack of a better term, playing the characters that these other actors are playing. Just dudes and dudettes playing dudes playing other dudes.
Right. For sure.
Which is exactly what this is.
Yeah, it is. So let's get Bartender Smiley in here and
let's tie a bow around this sucker.
Yeah.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So, what can I get you?
It's a 1 for me. Like it's very good. It's a good time. It's just a little bit on the long side, but even then, like have a couple of drinks. It's a good time. I had a blast watching it.
I had a blast watching it, but the length became a problem for me after a little while. So that's why I'm going to give it a 2.
Yeah.
The length just started. I started to really fall out of it. The one scene where she's trying to seduce the NPCs while they're trying to sneak into the hangar or whatever, just went way too long for me.
That's fair.
And once we got to the end, I was kind of checking out at that point. I was paying more attention to my phone than anything else.
Well, this I think is what length becomes a problem for any movie that has a framing device like this, because you have to establish the primary characters and you have to establish them again once they assume they're avatars, right?
Correct.
And so it's like if Jumanji just opened up in the world of Jumanji with like The Rock and all of them, like it would be a less interesting movie, but it would also be easily a half hour shorter.
Yeah, like honestly, and what they could have done is maybe give us the opening via flashbacks. Maybe.
Yeah, there are ways to. Well,
there's ways to do it, but the problem is.
I mean, so here's what's completely unnecessary, and that's that whole Alex bit. All of that stuff is not necessary. It's just another way of framing it, right?
Right.
And you don't need 2 frames. You already have 1 frame.
Correct.
So just eliminate that character altogether, and then you've basically lopped off 20 minutes of it.
Right.
And there's a way to make this movie without that character that's still fine.
You're absolutely right, 100%.
Because there's nothing that says that whenever Alan Parrish got rid of the board game initially, that somebody had to fight. Like this thing could have it washes up on the beach, sure. Somebody takes it to a pawn shop to make a quick $10 and it just lives there for 25, 30 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't have to have another intermediary. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Now, I do kind of like how the game... This is another thing that I did kind of like, but again, it added a lot of time, is the fact that the Alex character is like, well, when the game was over, it sent me back, so I was never missing.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of... I kind of like that as a wrinkle.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was kind of fun, and how it's only him and the kids that remember everything. Yeah. So I did like that, but like I said, the movie just starts to run a little bit too long.
They would have found that out themselves.
Right. And I get why they did what they did. I think that with the way the story is sort of framed, maybe that's the only way that you could do it to make it make sense. and that's fine. It's just it didn't work for me. So
yeah, I
that's
think
why
that all of
this
its
is-
problems are sort of inherent to its like framing. Like without the framing, it would have been shorter, it would have been snappier, etc. It wouldn't have gotten bogged down at certain places, you know.
Right. And not to say that, and we've said this quite a few times already. It's not that it's not a fun movie. It's a very fun movie.
Yeah.
It's the action is cartoonishly hilarious. I love the NPCs because it's like playing a video game. Like it's really, I feel like this film is a precursor to Free Guy.
Yeah.
I think that if this film isn't as popular as it is, I don't think we get Free Guy in the way that we got.
I don't know about that.
Well,
because video games are popular. Like,
yeah, video games are popular.
You know what I mean?
But I think though that making a movie just like a video game, like before this Jumanji movie, we didn't really get that much. We just got movies based on video game IPs. We didn't get movies.
And you got Ready Player One.
Yeah, but that's an IP based on.
That's fair, but it's a movie that's set largely inside of a game.
Yeah, but it's kind of different in the fact that there weren't real.
Jumanji is IP. It was based on a book.
A false book, right? Or a real book?
No, it's a real book.
I'm so confused at this point. There's so much source material.
There's an original children's book called Jumanji.
Got you. Okay. Well, I think then that if we're going to go that route, then I guess I'm not going to try to word it. But the thing is with Ready Player One is that it's based on this MMO and you're focusing on the player characters.
Yeah.
Where this one, we're focusing on the PCs with the NPCs as part of the story. And Free Guy is
about an NPC.
An NPC.
Yeah.
Where before, we're getting stuff strictly speaking with the player characters. Where now the NPCs are, and that's the NPC parts are what really help make this movie fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. So that's a 1 for me and a 2 for Brian. We would like to ask that you participate in our listeners' Halloween survey. You can find that over on the Facebook. It'll also be up on the website soon. So be sure you're checking that out. If you want to have any input in what we cover this Halloween, if you don't, then we'll just pick whatever we want to do and you'll be stuck with it and you'll listen or you won't. And then otherwise, make sure that you're rating, reviewing, subscribing, and telling everybody that you know about this super distracted, shitty podcast that you love to hate listen to.
Love to hate listen to.
And
I apologize.
Be back next week with Goosebumps.
Now this is gonna be fun. This is going to be fun because I have not watched Goosebumps.
It's a good time. I grew up reading them though, so that
I read them. I read a few of them in my day too, and I actually did like the TV show for a while.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And I'm actually going to be on location. I'm going to be in Virginia.
Okay.
When we're recording that because we're going away at the end of this week for Sharon's birthday.
All right, Virginia.
So going down to Virginia.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy it. Be safe and all that, and we will talk to you folks next time.
Take care, everybody.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo. If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.